The rain started as a whisper, just a soft hiss against my windshield, like fingertips dragging across glass, until it thickened into a steady, angry rattling that swallowed the sound of my tires. The kind of storm that doesn't feel natural, like it wasn't passing through so much as settling in, choosing a stretch of road and deciding nobody was getting out of it clean. I shouldn't have been driving. That's the part people always say when they're telling a story like this, but I mean it in a more literal way. The weather app had screamed red warnings all afternoon. My mom had texted twice, "Wait until morning." My friend had called and said, "Dude, don't be stupid." And I'd said the dumbest thing in the world. "It's only an hour. I'll be fine." An hour. At the start, it really did feel like just an hour. The town lights shrank behind me and the world turned into headlights and darkness. The road was a 2-lane ribbon cutting through trees that leaned in close like they were listening. I turned the radio up and down, trying to find something that didn't sound like static and doom. Every station had the same problem. It didn't want to be heard. There'd be a voice for a second, muffled, drowned, then a wash of static that rose like a wave and crashed over it. I tried Bluetooth. My phone showed bars, then none, then bars again, like it couldn't decide if reality applied out here. I told myself the storm was messing with it, and then the road sign appeared. It wasn't reflective like it should have been. It didn't flash back at my headlights. It just absorbed the light like a piece of wet cardboard. Road closed ahead. There was no detour sign, no orange cones, no flashing lights. Just that one message hanging on a crooked metal post. I slowed automatically. My heart did that stupid little jump it does when something feels off and you don't know why yet. I looked for the place the closure started, the barricade, the construction vehicles. Something. There was nothing. The pavement kept going, straight into the rain. I drove on anyway, because I'm an idiot. Because the road wasn't actually closed, right? There's no barricade. The sign could have been left out by mistake. The county forgot it. Some prank. A leftover from weeks ago. Anything normal. A mile passed. Then another. The storm deepened, turning the trees into dark smears. Water ran in silver sheets down the windshield, no matter how fast the wipers moved. The road started to shine black and slick like oil. Then my headlights caught movement ahead. A person, just standing at the edge of the shoulder, half hidden by the curtain of rain. They were holding something, maybe a hood over their head, maybe a sign. I couldn't tell. My first thought was, they need help. My second thought was, nobody stands out here like that unless something's wrong. I eased off the gas. As I got closer, I saw what they were holding. Not a hood, a flashlight. But it wasn't shining forward. It was pointed down at the asphalt, like they were trying to illuminate something at their feet. Their head was bowed. Their posture was wrong. Too still, too stiff. Like a mannequin someone had posed and forgotten. I rolled past slowly, staring. They didn't look up. They didn't react to the car. They didn't even seem to breathe. My skin prickled. I glanced in my side mirror. They were still there, and for 1/6 second I thought their head had turned, following me. But the rain smeared everything into a trembling blur. I pressed the gas, just a little, and then my dashboard lit up. A soft orange warning, low tire pressure. My stomach tightened. Not now. The steering wheel started to vibrate faintly, like the road had turned rough, but I knew the difference. I'd driven long enough to recognize that subtle wobble. I had a flat. I coasted onto the shoulder as far as I could without dropping into the ditch. The rain hammered the roof. The wipers squealed like they were complaining. I put the car in park and just sat there for a second, watching my breath fog the glass. It was too dark outside to see much, but when lightning flashed, it lit the trees up white and skeletal, and for a blink, I saw the figure again. Not beside my car, back where I'd passed them, still standing, still holding the flashlight, still looking down at the ground. That didn't make sense. They were too far back, and the trees between us made it impossible to see them from here. But I had seen them, clear as a photograph, stamped into my eyes by the lightning. I blinked hard. When the darkness returned, so did my rational mind. It was a trick of the storm, reflections, stress. I told myself that as I climbed out of the car, rain soaking my jacket instantly. The wind shoved at me. Cold water slid down the back of my neck like someone had poured it there on purpose. I crouched by the driver's side tire and felt my heart sink. It wasn't just low, it was shredded, not punctured, not slowly leaking, torn open, ragged, as if something sharp had chewed through rubber. My phone flashlight barely cut through the rain, but I aimed it at the ground anyway. I wanted to see what had done that. A nail? A piece of metal? Road debris? The beam bounced over wet gravel and stopped on something pale. A line, thin, chalk white, stretching across the shoulder and into the road. I followed it with the light. The line wasn't a line, it was a crack. A crack in the asphalt, hairline at first, then wider as it crossed the lane, cutting the road like a wound. Water poured into it, disappearing soundlessly. The crack looked wrong. Too straight, too clean, like it had been drawn with a ruler. I stood up, chest tight, and then the flashlight beam caught another sign, further ahead, barely visible through the rain. Not a road sign this time. A handmade one. Cardboard, nailed to a tree, letters scrawled in black paint. Turn around, my breath caught. I stared at it, rain dripping from my lashes. There was no way that had been there before. I would have seen it. I would have. Lightning flashed again. The trees turned white. The road turned white. And the crack in the asphalt, it wasn't a crack. It was an opening. A split that went deeper than pavement. Deeper than dirt. Like the road had been peeled back, revealing a darkness underneath that didn't reflect light at all. It looked like a mouth held open, waiting. When the lightning faded, the opening seemed to shrink. The road looked almost normal again. Almost. I stumbled back to the car, fingers numb as I yanked the door open. I slammed it and locked it without thinking. Like a lock could protect me from something that could open the earth. My hands shook so badly I fumbled the phone. No service, not even the emergency call icon. I tried anyway. Nothing. The radio clicked on by itself, static at first. Then, a voice. Not a station voice. Not a warning alert. Not a song. A man's voice, close and quiet, like he was speaking from the passenger seat. Don't get out! My blood went cold. I snapped my head toward the passenger side. Empty. The voice repeated, clearer this time, riding the static like it belonged there. Don't get out. Don't look down. Don't look down. My mouth went dry. Who is this? The radio crackled, then a laugh, wet and thin, wrong in a way that made my teeth ache. The voice returned. You already looked. The lights inside the car dimmed. The dashboard flickered like a candle in a draft. For a heartbeat, the engine sputtered, even though the key was still in the same position. The storm outside seemed to lean closer, and then I saw something in the rearview mirror. Headlights. A car behind me, coming up slow through the rain, beams wobbling as it approached. Relief hit me so hard I almost cried. Somebody, anybody, a tow truck, a driver, a person with a phone. I threw on my hazards. I flashed my brights. I waved through the glass like they could see me. The car rolled closer, then stopped behind me maybe 20 yards back. Its headlights stayed on, but the engine didn't sound like it was running. No door opened. Nobody stepped out. I watched, breathing shallow, waiting. A full minute passed, then 2. The radio hissed. My phone screen went black, even though the battery had been at 60%. The car behind me did nothing. Lightning flashed. And in that stark white moment, I saw the truth. It wasn't a car, not really. It had the shape of one, the outline of a sedan. But the surface looked wrong, too smooth, like it had been molded from wet tar. The headlights weren't bulbs, they were holes. Bright holes punched into a dark mass. And there was no driver, no seats, just empty space inside like a hollowed shell. When the darkness returned, my breath came in little panicked bursts. I squeezed my eyes shut and forced myself to think. Get out? No. Stay in? The radio is talking. I turned the key to start the engine. The car clicked once, twice, then died. The dashboard went dark. Total silence except for the rain. I tried again. Nothing. The air in the car felt heavier, like the pressure had changed. My ears popped. My stomach rolled. That's when I noticed the smell. Not rain, not wet fabric, something earthy, like fresh dug soil. I opened my eyes. The crack in the road, the opening, was closer. It wasn't possible. I hadn't moved the car. I hadn't rolled. But the line that had been across the lane was now right beside my front bumper, like the road itself had shifted. A low sound came from outside. Not thunder. Not wind. A slow, wet creak, like something huge, adjusting its weight beneath the asphalt. My gaze drifted without my permission down toward the floorboard, and I saw water pooling there. At first I thought it was rain from my clothes, dripping off me. But the puddle was too steady, too intentional. It spread in a thin sheen over the mat. And inside, it was not my reflection. It was the road, the crack, the darkness under it. Like the puddle wasn't water at all, but a window. Something moved inside the black, a shape that didn't have edges, just the sense of mass, as if darkness was thick enough to push through itself. The radio snapped on with a shriek. "Don't look down!" I jerked my eyes up, heart trying to tear out of my chest. Outside, through the windshield, the storm parted for a second, and I saw the person again. The one with the flashlight. They weren't behind me anymore. They were standing in the road in front of my car, just beyond the hood, flashlight pointed straight down at the crack. Their clothes clung to them, soaked through. Their hair hung like seaweed. Their face was turned away, but their head twitched slightly, like they were listening to something beneath their feet. They lifted the flashlight slowly, not to shine it at me, to shine it into the crack. The beam vanished into the darkness like it had been swallowed. Then the person's arm went slack, and the flashlight dropped from their hand. It didn't hit the ground. It fell into nothing. The person took a step forward, and the road opened under their foot like a trapdoor. They dropped, silent, fast, and were gone. The crack snapped shut like it had never been there. The rain seemed to pause, A second of stillness so complete my brain screamed at the wrongness of it. Then the road opened again, right under my car. I felt it, not as a sound, but as movement. The car lurched, the front end dipping, like the ground had been pulled away. The steering wheel jerked in my hands. Something deep below us exhaled, and the windshield fogged from the inside, my breath mixing with a cold that wasn't mine. I screamed. I don't remember deciding to, but my hands slammed the key again and again like sheer panic could spark an engine. Click, click, nothing. The car tilted more. I heard metal groan. The opening under the hood widened, and my headlights illuminated a vertical drop. No dirt walls, no rocks, just a smooth black descent like the inside of a throat. And in that darkness, far below, I saw points of light. Flashlights, dozens of them, drifting like fireflies in a cave. All pointed downward, all getting farther away. My stomach flipped as the car slid another inch toward the edge. Something tapped the passenger window. Softly. Once. I turned my head slowly, dread tightening my neck like a hand. The thing behind me, the fake car, was right beside mine now, impossibly close. Its surface pulsed faintly, like it was breathing. And where a driver's window would be, there was a seam opening, peeling back like wet paper. Inside was not an interior. It was the same darkness as the crack, the same depth, the same hungry absence. A shape pressed against it from within, bulging the darkness outward. And then, as if someone had leaned in close to whisper, the radio voice returned, not from the speakers, but from everywhere. See, we get home the same way. My vision tunneled. My throat locked. The car tipped forward suddenly, the back wheels lifting just enough that my stomach rose into my chest. And the engine, after all those dead clicks, roared to life. Not smooth, not normal. It started like it had been choking and finally decided to bite back. The dashboard lights flickered on in sickly bursts. The headlights flared bright. I didn't question it. I slammed the gas. The tires spun, throwing water. The car lurched forward, scraping metal as it clawed for traction. For one breathless second, I thought it was too late, that the front end would drop and I'd be pulled down into that impossible dark with all the drifting lights. Then, the car surged onto solid pavement. I shot forward into the rain, speeding so fast my headlights couldn't keep up with the road. Behind me, something screamed. Not a human scream, not an animal scream. A sound like twisting metal and wet stone and 1,000 radios tuning at once. I didn't look back. I drove. I don't know how long I drove. 10 minutes, an hour, a lifetime. The storm stayed tight around me, an endless corridor of rain and trees and darkness, until, without warning, it stopped. One moment, the rain was pounding so hard, the windshield looked like a waterfall, and the next it was just gone, like I'd crossed an invisible line. The road was dry, the air was still. My wipers squeaked against clean glass. My hands were locked so tightly on the wheel that when I tried to loosen them, my fingers wouldn't obey. My throat hurt from breathing like I'd been running. Ahead, town lights glowed, normal, warm, distant traffic, a billboard for a chain restaurant, bright and stupid. I pulled into the first gas station I saw and parked under the harsh fluorescent lights like they were holy. For a long time I couldn't move. When I finally did, I stepped out and walked around to the front tire, heart still racing. It was fine, no shred, no tear, fully inflated. I stared at it until my eyes burned. Then I looked down at the pavement under my car. No crack, no line. Just the normal oil stains and grit of a real gas station lot. A man came out of the store with a coffee and glanced at me like I was weird. "You all right?" he asked. I swallowed hard. My voice came out thin. There was a road closed sign back there, and he frowned. Back where? I pointed vaguely toward the dark road I'd come from. He shook his head. "Only road out that way's been closed for months. Storm washed part of it out. They put barriers up." My stomach dropped. "But I drove on it," I said. "Just now." He snorted like I'd told a dumb joke. "No, you didn't. Ain't passable. County put up a detour. Everybody knows." I stood there under the fluorescent buzz, feeling the world tilt in a different way. Because I had seen no detour, no barriers, just that one sign that didn't reflect light. And then, as if my body remembered something my mind was trying to bury, I realized my shoes were wet. Not from rain. The ground was dry here, the air was dry. My clothes were damp, sure, but my shoes were soaked like I'd stepped into a puddle. I looked down. Mud clung to my soles. Dark, thick, clotted mud that smelled like fresh earth, and mixed into it, stuck like gravel, were tiny shards of black asphalt. And one small object that made my blood go cold. A piece of cardboard, no bigger than a few inches, with black paint on it. 2 words, smeared but readable. "Turn around." I didn't sleep that night. I don't drive that road anymore. But sometimes, when it rains hard and the night is thick, and I'm stuck at a red light with my window fogging from my breath, I swear I can hear it under the sound of the storm. A low, wet creaking. Like something beneath the road shifting its weight, waiting for someone to look down.